A quick warning before we start the show. This episode contains descriptions of extreme violence. Hi, I'm Shashank Bhargava, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. Last week on Saturday, a shocking murder case came to light in New Delhi. The case involved a 28-year-old man named Aaftab Poonawala who had been living with his partner, the 27-year-old Shraddha Walkar. And the case has been in the news because of the gruesome way in which Aaftab allegedly killed Shraddha.
A horrific case coming from Delhi. The Delhi police have arrested a man for allegedly murdering his live-in partner, chopping her body in 35 pieces and throwing them away.
It was while working as a chef that he learned how to cut meat into small pieces. Aaftab used to sleep every day in the same room where he had actually butchered the body after killing Shraddha.
And there are some revelations that are now coming to the fore which are extremely gory, extremely shocking, something that none of his friends, none of his colleagues would have imagined. And we're going to put out
Now, over the past few days, a lot of new developments have come to light about this case. In this episode, we take a detailed look at what transpired between the two people, what we know about the case so far, and why the killer could walk free if the police are not able to find the right evidence in time. And to give us all the details, Indian Express's Jignasa Sinha, who reports on Delhi crime, joins us. Jignasa, could you begin by telling us about the two people at the center of this story?
The story revolves essentially around this couple, 28-year-old Aaftab Poonawala and his live-in partner, Shraddha Walkar, who's 27 years old. Both of these people, they hailed from Vasai in Palghar district, and they met on Bumble in 2019 and soon started working for the same company. Then they switched jobs and started working at call centers and eventually moved to Delhi.
Oh, so they both worked at a call center?
Yeah, for a very brief period, they worked at the same call center, but then they switched jobs.
Right, and the other thing we know is that they were even living with each other. What kind of a relationship did they have?
From what the police have told us, it was an extremely toxic relationship. Even Shraddha's friends and her family said the same thing, that the woman and the man, they used to beat each other, they used to fight all the time, and it was not a healthy relationship. They both accused each other of cheating, lying, and the police have gone to the extent of saying that Shraddha and Aaftab would ask each other for their exact GPS location at all times, and would ask each other to send photos of their surroundings and location just to make sure the other person is not cheating. And because of these issues, they had frequent fights, and also because of money, because they were trying to get jobs, but they were only working for call centers. So they were not making much. So yeah, there were fights about that as well.
And our colleague Jayaprakash Naidu, he spoke to some of Shraddha's close friends. Could you talk about what did they have to say about their relationship?
So according to the friends, the relationship was not going well for Shraddha. She initially liked this guy, started dating him. They even moved in together. They were very serious about each other, despite their parents opposing the relationship and, saying that this will not work. We don't want you to get married. But she was very serious about this guy. And Aaftab was also serious about her. But later, because of these constant fights and the financial issues, they were growing apart. And, Shraddha had told her friends that he would beat her up. He would get violent at times. And this was not acceptable for her. And then she wanted to break up with him. That's what her friends told the media as well, that she wanted to break up with him and they were trying to revive the relationship.
Yeah, and one of her friends even told Jayaprakash that Aaftab allegedly used to physically assault her, how she saw her covered in bruises multiple times, and that she told them that she was even going to file a police complaint against him. But also, what did their parents make of their relationship?
So we have spoken to Shraddha's father, and he's a simple businessman in Vasai, and she comes from a broken family because the father and mother, they were separated. Then again, the mother, she died in 2020. So father was always confused about the relationship. He was obviously not acceptable. He said he had his reasons. He said in his family, in his community, they don't see intercaste or interreligion relationships happening. So for him to accept that Shraddha was living with this guy without being married, it was not acceptable for him. And also because she distanced herself from the family. He did not like that. They had a strained relationship. They were not talked for months. So he did not like that. Meanwhile, Aaftab's parents, they were also not accepting of the relationship. Police told us that they had the same objections because the man and the woman are from different communities. The parents did not like the relationship.
Okay, so you mentioned that they first met on Bumble in 2019. They started dating and were living with each other for the past 3 years. When did people around Shraddha start to feel that something was amiss, that she had essentially gone missing?
Okay, so I'll start with some background. So Shraddha and Aaftab, they're both, like backpackers. And they had planned that they would backpack across Himachal and Uttarakhand. That's why they left Bombay around March or April. They wanted to take a break because of all the fights, because of their parents. They wanted to take a break, so they went to the hills. They spent some time together. And then they planned to settle down in Delhi. And this happened in May. I think around 15th May, they shifted to this one-room set in Chhatarpur Pahadi. That's when the friends knew that Shraddha was in Delhi and she has moved in with this guy. She's been living with him in Delhi, Mumbai as well. And now she's shifted to Delhi. But on May 18th, as we all know, the man killed her. But obviously nobody came to know about the incident on the same day or the same week. The friends as well, they thought Shraddha was alive. A part of that was happening because Aaftab was allegedly using her phone and her passwords to talk to her friends, to mess up with the timeline, to evade arrest, to evade any suspicion in the case. He would use her Instagram ID and talk to her friends. He was also paying bills around the same time so that, none of the companies, phone companies or internet companies send the bill to the original address. That is in Mumbai. So the parents or friends don't have any suspicion. But after June, he stopped doing all of this. He didn't pay bills or he didn't even use her Instagram to talk to her friends. Her friends then started feeling around the same time that, where is she? They tried calling her several times. Also, they didn't know her location. They knew she had shifted to Delhi with this guy, but they did not have any contact with her. They tried calling her. And I think there's especially one friend who tried calling her, messaging her, but she didn't pick up. After 2 to 3 months, he called her family, to know about her whereabouts. He thought that maybe they know about it. But the family also were clueless. The father said, I last spoke to her last year. That's when they approached the Bombay police saying that, we want to file a missing persons report.
And Jignasa, what was some of the last messages she sent to her friends? Do we know what those messages said?
So the friends said, from what they've received messages is very simple messages like, oh, we went on this trip, this happened, I was traveling here and there. Sources also said that she had told one of her, few of her friends that she was in this relationship and she was not happy and she wanted to break up. She was being beaten up and he was being very aggressive. So that's what few of the friends said off the record.
Okay, so a missing persons report is filed in the police. What do the police do after that?
So this happened in September, October. In October, the Mumbai police started looking for this man because the father had said that she left with him, for Delhi and for the trip and everything. So they started looking for him. According to officials, Aaftab was called to Bombay twice for questioning. And it is said that he spoke to the officials and he told them that, she has left me and we broke up and I don't know, she's fled or something like that. And the police bought that. He lied and the police bought it. Police did not do anything at that time. It was later when, she was not found that in October, November, the police then transferred the file to Delhi police, asking them to help with the investigation. Where is Shraddha?
Yes, and in one of your pieces, you mentioned that it was the Delhi police that then found some discrepancies in his statement to them. Talk about what those discrepancies were.
So when the Mumbai police approached Delhi police about the case, so Delhi police called Shraddha's father and they took down his statement. In his statement, he said that, he last spoke to her last year and his daughter left with Aaftab and they are in a live-in relationship and he's not been in contact with her. Based on the statement, the Delhi police tried finding Aaftab. He was at his apartment in Chhatarpur Pahadi where the incident took place. When he was picked up for questioning, initially, he again told the same lies to the police that he told to the Bombay police, that she has left him and they fought and she left and she's not come back and he does not know where she is. But then there were a lot of discrepancies, there were a lot of loopholes that the police caught because he had told his landlord something else, because when Shraddha and Aaftab moved in on May 15th, they gave their Aadhaar cards to the landlord. But when she went missing, the landlord must have once inquired, where is your girlfriend? And he gave her some other statement. And that statement was not matching with his police statement. The suspicion grew, the police started grilling him. And, during sustained interrogation, he then broke down and told the police everything.
And what exactly did he tell them?
Since the police has heavily relied on the confession starts with, yes, I killed her. And according to police, there's no remorse, there's no guilt. He's not crying. He's very clear in his speech. He tells them, yeah, I killed her. It was one of those days when we had like a big fight. She suspected me of having an affair. She had my phone in her hands and she saw some messages from a girl and she thought I was cheating on her. I tried explaining to her, she wouldn't listen. And she would often throw objects at me during the fight. So, the couple were fighting again. It was May 18th. It was night time and they were fighting. And during this fight, Shraddha started shouting, screaming at him. It was like how they fight, it turned violent. He was trying to silence her. That's what he told police. His intent was not to kill her, but he was trying to silence her. So he jumped on her and he held her face. He tried strangling her to silence her. But because she's petite, he's tall, and he was overpowering her clearly, she succumbed. She died. And once she died, he realized that he had killed her. And then he had no other option but to evade arrest. He did not want to be arrested. He did not want to go to the police. He wished to stay out of jail, and he then started planning the whole thing.
Yeah, and it is the details of what he did after. Those are the details that have really caught everyone's attention. Because these details are particularly gruesome.
They're gruesome, they're gory, because this is not something that happens in Delhi every day. You don't see such things happening in Mehrauli, happening in a one-room set. Okay, so the area, Chhatarpur Pahadi, it's a congested area, it's a crowded area. You'll see many youngsters living there, you'll see families living there. Even the couple, they lived on the first floor of a building, and building is crammed up. There's hardly any space.
Very densely populated.
Very densely populated. But even the police are shocked how he managed to do this. So for the next 2 days after the murder, he was there. The body was intact. He did not touch it. He did not do anything. But he knew he had to do something. So the next day he went out, meet a local dealer. He bought a fridge for 19,000 rupees. He came back. Another day he bought a saw, like a mini saw, to cut the body. He decided that he had to chop off the body so he could destroy the evidence, because there was no way he could get away with murder otherwise. So he started chopping the body into very small pieces. Police say that since he had training from 5-star hotels and other places as a chef, his training came in handy, because he was very particular with the chopping. I mean, it sounds very gory, but yeah, while he was chopping the body, he was very slow. He was not, doing it aggressively or anything. That's what he has told the police. He made very small pieces of the body. He removed the intestines, he removed the liver and other insides first, so that part could decompose easily, and, he could chop off the body then. So that's what he did. He started taking out the insides and the limbs, and his plan was simple. He would chop the body into smaller pieces, store it in the fridge, take one piece out every day, go out around 1 or 2 a.m., walk towards the Mehrauli forest area, which is around 15 to 20 minutes from his place, and he would dump these pieces inside the forest. One smart thing he would do is he would not just randomly throw the pieces in the forest. He would empty the packets. So, the pieces can decompose easily, or, not with the polythene, but with just in the ground, the pieces would decompose easily. And he would separately discard the plastic bags.
And again, I mean, he's doing all this, storing the body, cutting it, and then taking it out, while being in an area that is very densely populated.
Yeah. We don't know how he managed to do it. Even the police are shocked, because for 2 days he waited, but then after that, it just took him 1 or 1.5 days to chop the whole body. So what the police have told us is that he dragged the body to the bathroom, and in the bathroom, he started chopping the body into little pieces. There was a lot of blood, obviously, stench, and he had to do something to mask the smell and the remains. So he bought bottles of acid, disinfectants, anything and everything he could find, He was buying dhoop, agarbatti. He was Googling. So we were told by the police that his Google search history mentions how to, destroy body, how to destroy blood stains, how to remove blood, how to decompose. And he was reading a lot about human anatomy. So he was doing this all very carefully so that, his neighbors wouldn't catch him.
It seems that everything he's doing is very meticulous.
Yeah, but it was planned then and there. This all happened in a fit of rage. But yeah, once he had done it, he knew for sure that he did not want to go to the police, or he did not want to get caught. Hence, he made this whole plan. And like the Delhi police say, he was also inspired by TV series Dexter, where the main character is also like killing people and, chopping their body and packing it into little pieces. So that's what he was also trying to do, like the same thing.
I mean, a lot of what he's doing, we've seen it in movies and TV shows. This is what characters are shown doing when they have to get rid of a body, right?
That's what he did. He was inspired with these movies and series, and he wanted to get rid of the body, but in a very simple way. Hence, he packed all these pieces to mask the smell. He bought hundreds of different things, like agarbatti, disinfectants, acid, just to mask the smell and clean all the evidence. He bought a new fridge to store all these packets so that the blood and, the organs, they would freeze and they would be frozen and, he would not get into trouble.
And Jignasa, you also visited the neighborhood that Aaftab and Shraddha were living in, and you spoke to the neighbors there. What are the kind of things that they told you?
For the neighbors, it was actually a shock. They didn't even know this girl existed, most of them. They were not even aware that, there was this woman, Shraddha was there, she used to live there. Because, the couple moved in on May 15th and she was killed on May 18th. For them, they didn't even know like something had happened. They just thought that, he's a new tenant, he must have a friend over, like most youngsters do invite their friends to their homes. They thought the same thing. None of them had ever suspected that he was capable enough of killing someone. Surprisingly, none of them ever complained of foul smell or the stench or anything. They thought that, he was a simple boy who works at a call center, comes back home, stays alone, does not have a lot of friends because, a lot of people come to visit him. And that's it.
And now the other detail that really stands out in this case is that after he allegedly killed Shraddha, he immediately went on a date. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty shocking because, once you do something like this, and he had not planned this. It was not planned, it was done in a fit of rage, and it was just a fight where he was trying to silence her. You think that something like this would affect the killer, the person. It didn't. The police found that he was active on Bumble. He installed the same app again after his girlfriend's death, or murder rather. And he met a woman who was a clinical psychologist and he dated her for some time. This woman was there inside the house. I mean, he had hid pieces in the kitchen cupboard and the fridge to avoid any suspicion. Like, the woman didn't know, obviously. But he was dating her. He was talking to other women as well.
And so talk about the investigation that the police is doing right now, and where does the case against Aaftab stand?
At present, the police heavily relied on Aaftab's confession. Also, the Delhi police said that they have recovered 13 body parts or body pieces from the Mehrauli forest based on Aaftab's confession that they have recovered. But these are suspected body parts. They could be of an animal, they could be of Shraddha's, they don't know yet. They would come to know this after the forensic science lab gives them, a report.
So right now they're mainly relying on what Aaftab told them.
Yeah, they're mainly relying on what Aaftab has told them because they don't have a body. They just have like a few pieces. They don't have any evidence that he killed her. They don't have the murder weapon. So like Aaftab has told them that he killed her with, he strangled her, but he chopped the body into pieces with a saw. They don't have the saw.
Okay, so they don't have the body and they don't have the murder weapon. How big of a challenge is that for the Delhi police?
This is definitely a challenge for Delhi police because this is a big case. Just based on Aaftab's statement, this is a very big case. Somebody killing their live-in partner, chopping her body into 30 to 35 pieces, discarding them slowly over the next 2-3 months in a forest area. Police have told us that, he kept the head and torso of the woman till late August, September. So imagine somebody had planned to save themselves and, this big plan, and police do not have enough evidence. They don't have the weapon and they don't have any witnesses. They don't have the body. They have no evidence that Shraddha was killed by this man and her body is at XYZ place. They relied on his confession. And because Mehrauli forest is a big area, it's a big forest. Also, it's been 6 months since the murder. These pieces, they could be anywhere now. Maybe animals ate them. Maybe they've decomposed. Maybe they're in the canal. Maybe they're in the river. The Delhi police does not know. We don't know where these pieces are. They could be anywhere. And so that's a big challenge for police to find all the 35 pieces, to trace her body, to get the same DNA match. that the pieces they have found are Shraddha's, and to link Aaftab to this murder. Right now, all they have is a confession. They have to link it. They have to make sure that, yeah, this man killed her. They need to have that evidence, technical, circumstantial, something. But they don't have that right now.
Right, so just finding those 35 pieces will be important for the police to have a substantial case against the killer.
Yeah, they need to make sure that at least they get 20 or 25 and her pieces, like her body pieces, not an animal's. They have to do that to make sure, because if they don't get enough evidence when you go to a court, this man can plead not guilty and the court might listen to him because the police do not have strong evidence at this point.
What about his confession to the police? Will that not be admissible in court?
So in such cases, what he has told the police is called like a disclosure statement, and disclosure statements don't hold a lot of value inside the court. The court relies on evidence. They want evidence. They want something that links him to her murder. They want proof that she was even murdered. The Delhi police have nothing right now.
And what happens if they are not able to find
He might
her?
walk out free. He might get bail if they do not get evidence soon enough.
Okay, so what attempts have we seen by the police to recover those body parts?
So on Tuesday, the Delhi police went to the Mehrauli forest area with Aaftab, and this was done to take him to the exact spots where he stated that he had disposed the parts, and they want to recover more parts. So they took him there. Searches were conducted across the Mehrauli forest area to recover more parts, and they are right now trying to question Aaftab's friends, Shraddha's friends, their common friends, relatives, colleagues, who were in touch with the couple, who knew about the situation, or, and to just get an idea what he did in the last 6 months. Did anyone of them knew about the murder,
And Jignasa, at this time, what is the family of the girl going through? How are they feeling about all this?
The family of the girl, they were only confused. They could not believe that their girl had been killed. But now they're just devastated. They don't know what to believe because there are hundreds of media reports claiming one thing or another. And all they have to say is that if this man, who he's claiming to be who he is, and everything that he has done, because he's told everything to the police and his statement is out, if something like this has happened, he should be hanged. That's what they want. They want capital punishment. They want the accused to go through stringent punishment. They think that he deserves it for what they did to their daughter. And the father's also disappointed because not only did he kill her, he hid this for months. And this could have been going on for a year maybe, had the police not intervened. He was living guilt-free. He had no remorse. Like, the family believes, like the police says.
Yeah, and you mentioned that at the time of the confession also, he showed no remorse.
Yeah, he had no remorse. He did not flinch, he did not cry, he did not do anything. He only cried once he saw his father, because the Delhi police later called his father from Vasai that, we have arrested your son. And that's the first time he broke down in front of the police, seeing his father. And his father as well, they were clueless. They didn't know the son would kill someone.
And Jignasa, you cover Delhi crime for the newspaper. You report on all sorts of horrific things that happen to people. Now, this murder case has been getting a lot of attention. What do you think is the reason for that? Is it just the way he disposed of the body?
I think it's a collection of a lot of things. You do see a lot of crimes happening. There are a lot of crimes happening against women. Delhi is among the top cities where crimes against women are always increasing. But you don't see such gory crimes happening. You don't see men being this aggressive towards a woman. They were in a relationship. You don't expect relationships to end this way. And, even after the murder, the shocking part is what he did, everything after the murder. He did not stop. He chopped her body into pieces. He stored it in for 2-3 months. Living in a house where you killed a woman. He did not leave the house. He stayed there. He had food there. There are reports that he even stored his ice cream or Coke in the same fridge. I don't want to go much into that, but that is shocking. That does not happen every day. You living with your girlfriend's dead body, her parts for weeks, months, and you're eating there. You're dating another woman, bringing her to the same house. And there's no guilt, there's no remorse. He's talking to her friends, posing as her. This does not happen quite often. This does surprise a lot of people. Also because how the woman left her family, she fought with them. She told her father that she wants to be in a live-in relationship with him. And this is what a lot of people get into. But for them, it just turned out really sour.
You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was written and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava, and was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.